Welcome back to the channel, and welcome if you're new. The weapon balancing update already went live, so I've already had all the information pre-update of all the stats on all the weapons that were expected to be nerfed and buffed. As you can see, they gave us a little preview list of everything we should see get some weapon balancing to it. So what I did was I went ahead and tested out all these weapons pre-patch, and now we have some new data post-patch to compare it to see what actually changed and what we should be seeing in the patch notes tomorrow. These were some really obvious changes to a lot of these weapons that were listed here on this list, and I'm sure there is definitely more that they aren't telling us about, but we are going to find that out soon. But anyways, if you want to stay tuned for that, make sure to subscribe if you are brand new around here, and check out my other videos as well for more in-depth breakdown videos. And make sure to leave a like on the video. It is always appreciated. All right, so we're just going to go in order here. So as you can see, this is a tweet from 𝗧𝗪𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗧𝗏, very credible source for Call of Duty news. First thing we're going to take a look at is LMGs. The Stoner is one of those LMGs that a lot of people were crying about. They wanted to be nerfed, etc., etc. One thing I do want to clarify moving forward is that it seems that they did a huge overhaul as far as sprinting move speed and just movement speed in general, as far as buffing everything in the game, from SMGs, ARs, LMGs, you name it. Pretty much everything received an increase to some sort of movement. So I just want to clarify that. Even if it doesn't state it here, that is exactly what I noticed when I was going through all my stats. Increased aim down sight time from 625 milliseconds to 633. So this is a nerf. And honestly, this isn't really a significant nerf. Increased vertical and horizontal recoil control. All right, so keep in mind, this is vertical right here. The 270 is vertical and 200 is horizontal. And they increased that to 378 and 240. So that is actually a really significant increase to the vertical recoil. Not so much horizontal, but definitely you are going to notice a little bit more vertical recoil control when you're using the weapon. Next, reduce damage from 42 to 38. So this actually isn't really a huge nerf in my opinion. It's still going to be a 4-shot kill regardless if the damage profile is changed from 42 to 38. Reduce vehicle damage from 63 to 57. I'm not really sure, if this is even necessary or if it's something that's even significant that actually matters. But it's just something that I noticed, small little minor detail that I noticed was different from pre and post patch. So overall, honestly, I don't even think that this is a really huge nerf to worry about if you're a Stoner 63 fan. The only thing though is that vertical recoil control gets increased massively, almost by 100. So that's probably the only thing I would worry about. Obviously, there's attachments that you can use to mitigate that negative. But for the most part, even if there are a lot of nerfs here, in the long run, if you take a look at it, it's not really that game breaking. It's not nerfing it to the ground as some people are saying. All right, now moving on to the RPD. So the RPD got an increase of damage from 38 to 42. Again, this isn't going to make a big difference. It's still going to be a 4-shot kill. Sprinting move speed increase as well from 10.8 to 13.69. Increased vehicle damage again from 57 to 63. They nerfed the magazine ammo capacity from 75 to 50. That's pretty significant in my opinion. Max starting ammo is reduced from 225 to 150. Ammo capacity reduced from 450 to 300, and they also reduced the effective damage range from 50.8 to 25.4. So honestly, this is actually really huge. This is a huge nerf. I would definitely consider overall the RPD pretty much nerfed, and honestly, I didn't see this coming. You always hear everything coming from the Stoner 63 of how the community wanted it nerfed. You don't really hear too much about the RPD. I mean, yeah, this is a pretty significant nerf overall in my opinion. For the last LMG, we have the M60 here. Not too much going on here. Sprinting move speed was buffed as well. Like I said, every single gun in the game got a sprinting move speed buff to it. The reduced effective damage range from 76.2 to 25.4. That is also huge. So they did pretty much the same thing with the RPD. And they also reduced aim down sight time from 600 to 683, which is very, very noticeable. So I would for sure say that LMGs definitely did take a huge hit overall, but the Stoner 63, the nerf really wasn't that significant. All right, next, all shotguns, including the Streetsweeper. Horror 77, we got a buff here, 2 buffs. We got the increased effective damage range from 5.72 to 6.35, and the buff of the increased sprinting move speed like we were talking about earlier. So 5 to 6, you know, 1 meter difference. I guess it could make all the difference, you know, when you're in a close quarter situation. So I guess I can see how this buff could be a little bit viable in certain situations. But, you know, it's nothing too drastic. You know, I would say it's a pretty modest buff in my opinion. 𝗧𝗨𝗥𝗕𝗦 buffed the increased spinning move speed once again. But they did reduce the damage from 118 to 108. And they reduced the vehicle damage as well from 89 to 81. Again, you know, I'm not really understanding the significance of vehicle damage in this game unless this pertains to, you know, something like Fireteam Dirty Bomb where you're actually using vehicles. But as far as multiplayer goes, this is pretty much irrelevant, I guess. It's still going to be a 2-shot kill regardless with the 𝗧𝗨𝗥𝗕𝗦, even though they did reduce that damage from 118 to 108. Moving on to the Streetsweeper, probably the topic of conversation that a lot of people want to know what exactly changed with it. So the damage was reduced from 134 to 88. It's still going to be the same amount of shots it takes to kill. So if we do the math here, let's do 88 times 2, bam, 176, and there's 150 health in the game. So as soon as you get your 2 shots off, you're still going to kill your opponent. Now they reduced the effective damage range from 5.72 meters to 5.08. You know, the first time I saw this difference in stats, I was like, damn, this isn't really anything. 5.72 to 5.08, you're not really going to notice a difference in the effective damage range. Honestly, I don't consider this a considerable nerf. Reduced vehicle damage from 101 to 66. Again, pretty irrelevant for multiplayer stuff. But yeah, this nerf to the Streetsweeper is more of like a slap on the wrist in my opinion. It's still the same amount of shots to kill, and it's still the same effective damage range. I don't know, man. I think honestly, since this is just my opinion, I think since the Streetsweeper is a DLC, you know, blueprint type of weapon, I think they still want to encourage people to want to go ahead and get the gun. Because if they nerfed it all the way to the ground, then people wouldn't be inclined to, you know, buy the weapon, and it's just bad for business, obviously. So I don't know, that's just my opinion. All right, so they listed the FFAR 1 and the Krig 6 here, but obviously they didn't tell us exactly what we should be looking for. From my comparisons here, what I found with the FFAR 1, the only thing I did find with it was the increase of sprinting move speed. Pretty much again, same thing as the other weapons. Krig 6, I did find some noticeable changes here, and some of them are, I'm really questioning it, honestly. So let's start off with the buffs. They increased the sprinting move speed from 10.26 miles per hour to 14.49. Increased centering speed from 2.5 feet per pound to 10 feet per pound. If you guys are curious, centering speed is basically how fast your weapon's going to return back to center after firing a shot. And this is actually something that's a little bit more noticeable with semi-automatic rifles. Basically, you know, when you're shooting your weapon and the gun has noticeable kick to it after one shot, and then it goes back to center. That's basically what centering speed is. So if you have a really high centering speed stat on that weapon, you can spam that semi-automatic rifle and your rifle will reset back to center, and essentially resetting that recoil fairly quickly, and you're going to be able to get a little bit more accurate shots on your opponent. But however, if you have a very low centering speed on that weapon, whenever you're trying to spam that weapon, you're going to notice that the gun just keeps, you know, it takes a little bit longer for it to move back to center in your center screen. So hopefully that makes a little bit more sense on what this increased centering speed is. So this is for sure a huge difference from pre and post patch here. So moving on, decreased damage from 35 to 33. So honestly, this is something that didn't make sense to me because, again, 35 to 33 is not a huge difference. It's still going to be the same amount of shots it takes to kill. So you know, I'm not really understanding where the reasoning comes from, you know, decreasing it to 33. Like, why nerf the Krig 6? If anything, it needs a buff, in my opinion. I'm really not understanding this, you know, so this was strange to me. Decreased vehicle damage from 26 to 25. This, honestly, I don't understand this either. If you're gonna nerf 26 to 25, it's literally one difference, you know. Is this actually going to make a difference is what I'm trying to say. So, you know, that, you know, it doesn't pertain to multiplayer, but still it was a really strange, you know, value that I found out here that was different. All right, so next up we have assault rifle barrel attachments. So this was something that I'm definitely interested in. and I'm really curious to see what is going to come out from these patch notes, because barrels in this game have been incredibly inconsistent as far as doing what they state they do, especially when it comes to bullet velocity. So to summarize everything here, because I don't want to bore you guys with just reading every single literal line, they're literally all the same. Long story short, pretty much every barrel that does increase your aim walking movement speed was buffed slightly. So you can pause the video if you want to take a little bit more detailed look at everything here. One thing I would like to point out that I found very interesting was the FFAR 1. Now the task force barrel was actually reduced in that vertical and horizontal recoil from 396 vertical and 207 horizontal to 379 vertical and 198 horizontal. So clearly there is a reduction in this recoil. I would say the FFAR is probably going to be a much more viable weapon to use because it's going to be easier to use, obviously. So who doesn't want that? So task force barrel is definitely going to be one to use. This one's not really that much of a big deal, but it's definitely something that I noticed that was really weird. Was the takedown barrel reduced effective damage range from 158.81 to 158.75. Like, you know, I'm not really understanding like the difference here. Does this, what was this supposed to do? What was the reason behind it? You know, I would really like to know. But anyways, the last and final thing that was changed here was the SMG sprint speed. So I can confirm, long story short, we don't need to look at all the data or anything. You can just look for yourself. All the SMGs in the game, the sprinting move speed has been increased. However, the only SMG that didn't really receive a larger buff to it was the AK-74U. Doesn't really have the same sprinting move speed values as far as versus all the other SMGs in the game go. I'm not really sure where the influence is coming from with all these changes, but at least we know what to expect now. Make sure to subscribe, stay tuned. We're definitely going to be doing a lot more testing as soon as these patch notes come out. If you guys did enjoy the video or you learned something, make sure to leave a like on the video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Let's go, baby. Just want to give a quick shout out, by the way, to my sponsor, Gamer Advantage. They are the best blue light glasses on the market. I literally wear them everywhere. I wear them when I'm editing videos, when I'm watching videos, even on my phone, even when I go outside, dude. They come with these really cool clip-on magnet attachments that can be used as sunglasses. Now, I just want to give a quick comparison here, just for comparison's sake. Okay, so these are some previous gamer glasses that I used to wear on stream. And, you know, I mean, who wants to look like this, man? I'm just keeping it real, dude. Now that you've seen that, bam. I mean, this is a lot more natural, more casual, dude. You can wear this anywhere, and you can also get it prescripted if you are wearing prescription glasses. And I also do have a prescription pair, by the way. And here are the clips that I was just talking about. Bam, I'm ready to go outside, grab the mail. I'll come back inside, take off my clips. That's all it is to it. But anyways, if you guys are interested in that, learn more about it, link down below in the description.